1. TSA ends 20-year shoe removal rule at airport checkpoints. 2. TSA shoe check relaxation at U.S. airports, what you need to know. 3. TSA ends shoes-off policy, what you need to know for faster airport security. 4. Breaking. TSA drops shoe removal rule, what travelers need to know. 1. TSA ends 20-year shoe removal rule at airport checkpoints. In a groundbreaking shift, the Transportation Security Administration, TSA, has announced a significant change to its security protocols, effectively abolishing a rule that has been in place for over 2 decades. This new policy, which took effect on July 7, 2025, means that travelers will no longer be required to remove their shoes and walk barefoot through TSA checkpoints. This announcement was confirmed by White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt in a post shared on X, sparking interest and discussion among frequent flyers and airport-goers alike. The motivation behind this change is to enhance the efficiency of airport security processes. Thanks to advancements in technology, the TSA can now conduct thorough screenings without requiring passengers to take off their footwear. This is a notable improvement, as it aims to reduce wait times and streamline the travel experience for everyone. According to a statement from the TSA, these enhancements are based on updated intelligence, risk assessments, and a shift in known threat vectors. The change reflects confidence in the agency's ability to detect threats through multiple security layers, both visible and behind the scenes. This statement underscores the TSA's commitment to maintaining safety while adapting to new technologies and methods. It's important to note that this new policy applies to all U.S. airports and is specifically for passengers who possess Real ID-compliant documents. However, TSA officers still retain the authority to request that individuals remove their shoes in certain situations where further screening is deemed necessary. This means that while the general rule has changed, there are still circumstances where traditional procedures may apply. The shoe removal requirement was originally implemented in 2006, following a notorious incident involving Richard Reed, a British national who attempted to detonate explosives hidden in his shoes on an American Airlines flight from Paris to Miami. This event, which occurred in December 2001, just months after the tragic 9/11 attacks, highlighted the need for heightened security measures. Fortunately, Reed's explosives did not detonate, and the flight landed safely in Boston after passengers subdued him, as reported by NBC News. This policy change raises intriguing questions about airport security and the balance between safety and convenience. Are we moving towards a more relaxed approach to security, or is this simply a reflection of improved technology? What do you think about this shift? Do you feel safer with or without the shoe removal rule? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 2. TSA shoe check relaxation at U.S. airports, what you need to know. Passengers at some U.S. airports will no longer have to remove their shoes, sources say. By Jordan Fryman, news editor. https://www.cbsnews.com/team/Jordan-Fryman. Jordan Fryman is a news editor for cbsnews.com. He covers breaking news, trending stories, sports, and crime. Read full bio https://www.cbsnews.com/team/Jordan-Fryman. Updated on July 8, 2025/10:18 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time/CBS News. Passengers at some airports across the U.S. no longer have to remove their shoes during regular TSA security checks, 2 sources familiar with the change confirmed to CBS News on Monday. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt also seemed to confirm the change, calling it big news from the Department of Homeland Security in a post on X. https://x.com/pressSEC/1942566895011447059??S=42 early Tuesday. The change appears to be a phased approach, sources said, and the first airports where the no-shoes requirement is expiring include Baltimore/Washington International Airport, Fort Lauderdale International Airport, Cincinnati/Northern Kentucky International Airport, Portland International Airport, Philadelphia International Airport, and Piedmont Triad International Airport in North Carolina. However, CBS News correspondents at Los Angeles International Airport and New York City's LaGuardia Airport reported Monday night that they and other passengers didn't have to take off their shoes. Travelers with TSA PreCheck, https://www.cbsnews.com/news/unruly-passengers-TSA-PreCheck-eligibility. Already didn't have to remove their footwear. In order to have PreCheck, travelers must submit an application and go through a clearance process with the Transportation Security Administration. The change comes amid reports that the TSA has let the security rule expire for flyers going through the standard TSA screening. https://www.cbsnews.com/news/trump-administration-planning-to-end-TSA-quiet-surveillance-program. In a statement to CBS News on Monday, TSA said the agency and the Department of Homeland Security are always exploring new and innovative ways to enhance the passenger experience and our strong security posture. The no-shoes rule was implemented by TSA nationwide in 2006. The official adoption of the rule came several years after Richard Reid, a British man who would come to be known as the shoe bomber, attempted to blow up an American Airlines flight from Paris to Miami with explosives hidden in his shoe in December 2001. Reid failed to detonate the explosives and the plane landed safely in Boston after passengers helped subdue him. Following that incident, airlines and TSA began asking passengers to voluntarily remove their shoes when going through security. Chris Van Cleve, https://www.cbsnews.com/team/Chris-Van-Cleve, and Catherine Krupnick contributed to this report. Transportation Security Administration, https://www.cbsnews.com/tag/transportation-security-administration. Kiki Interasuan, https://www.cbsnews.com/team/Kiki-Interasuan. Kiki Interasuan is a news editor for CBS News and Stations. 3. TSA ends shoes-off policy, what you need to know for faster airport security. Imagine walking into a U.S. airport and not having to worry about removing your shoes for security screening. A reality that's been a staple of air travel for nearly 2 decades is about to change. But here's where it gets interesting. The Transportation Security Administration, TSA, has announced plans to phase out the shoes-off policy for airport security screening, a move that's set to revolutionize the way we travel. The agency first introduced the policy in 2006, following a failed attempt by Richard Reid to blow up an American Airlines flight from Paris to Miami with explosives hidden in his shoes. This incident led to a major overhaul of airport security protocols, with passengers being required to remove their shoes for screening. However, with advancements in technology and screening methods, the TSA has been exploring ways to streamline the security process and make it more efficient. And this is the part most people miss. The new policy, which is set to roll out to all U.S. airports, will allow passengers to keep their shoes on when passing through the general security line at many major airports across the country. According to sources, the TSA has been working on implementing this change, which is expected to start on Sundays at many airports. The goal is to have all U.S. airports on board with the new policy shortly. But what about passengers who trigger the alarm at the scanners or magnetometers? They will still be required to remove their shoes for additional screening. The TSA has spent years looking for innovative ways to speed up the security process, and this move is seen as a major step forward. Previously, only passengers in the TSA PreCheck line were able to keep their shoes on in most cases. The question on everyone's mind is, how will this change affect security? Will it compromise the safety of passengers, or is it a necessary step towards making air travel more convenient? The TSA has not commented on the new policy, but it's clear that this move has the potential to spark a lot of debate. So, we want to hear from you. Do you think the TSA is making the right call by phasing out the shoes-off policy, or do you have concerns about the potential impact on security? Let us know in the comments. As the TSA continues to evolve and adapt to new threats and technologies, it's essential to consider the implications of such changes and how they might affect the traveling public. One thing is certain, the end of the shoes-off policy is a significant shift in the way we approach airport security, and it will be interesting to see how it plays out in the coming months. 4. Breaking. TSA drops shoe removal rule. What travelers need to know. Imagine going to the airport and not having to take your shoes off at security anymore. After nearly 20 years, that day is finally arriving. But here's where it gets controversial. While this change is being rolled out, it's not happening everywhere at once, and some security experts wonder if this new approach might compromise safety. The Transportation Security Administration, TSA, has confirmed, through a government insider who spoke anonymously to CNN, that the policy requiring all passengers to remove their shoes at airport security checkpoints in the United States is being phased out. This marks a significant shift in airport security protocols that many travelers will welcome. The White House press secretary called the announcement big news in a recent post on X, formerly Twitter, highlighting that this update comes from the Department of Homeland Security. Although the TSA itself has yet to officially confirm the change, the news first emerged via an internal memo reported by the aviation blog Gate Access. A spokesperson for TSA and the Department of Homeland Security explained, "We are constantly working to improve the passenger experience while maintaining our strong security standards. Any changes to security procedures will be communicated through official channels." This indicates that the shift is part of an ongoing effort to try new and innovative methods to streamline screening without lowering safety. Interestingly, the implementation of this new policy is already visible in some places. For example, passengers flying from Hancock International Airport in Syracuse, New York, were allowed to keep their shoes on while going through security as early as Monday, according to CNN's local affiliate WSTM. Yet, just a day later, travelers at Chicago O'Hare Airport were still required to remove their shoes, as noted by CNN's WLS affiliate. This staggered rollout might create some confusion for passengers who travel through multiple airports. To understand how this security measure began, we need to look back to December 2001, when Richard Reed, infamously known as the Shoe Bomber, attempted to ignite explosives hidden in his shoes aboard a flight from Paris to Miami. This dramatic incident led to the TSA's decision to require all passengers to remove their shoes during security screening, a policy officially enacted several years later in response to ongoing terrorist threats. Additional history highlights that the TSA introduced the now familiar 311 liquids rule after a foiled 2006 plot involving liquid explosives on transatlantic flights. These measures have been part of a broader effort to thwart evolving threats to aviation security. However, not all travelers have had to remove their shoes. Members of the TSA's Trusted Traveler Program, known as TSA PreCheck, have long been exempt from this requirement. In exchange, they undergo a thorough background check and pay an application fee, which affords them expedited screening privileges. So, what does this shift mean going forward? While many travelers will undoubtedly welcome the convenience, some security experts might question whether removing shoes was an essential step in threat detection, or if its removal signals a new confidence in advanced screening technology. Could this pave the way for further relaxed security measures, or might it expose airports to new risks? And this is the part most people miss. The balance between safety and convenience is constantly evolving, and what works today might not be foolproof tomorrow. What do you think? Are you excited about not having to remove your shoes at the airport? Or does this change make you uneasy about security? Share your thoughts and experiences below. Your opinion could shed light on a debate that impacts millions of travelers every day. CNN's Cara Devlin also contributed to this report.